Then he was aligned with Buhari, who wondered, and regrettably, that democracy was slowing him down.
He said that many, many times.
A country serious about development needs, quote, some sort of benevolent dictatorship somewhere and sometime in its history.
I believe that. I
Really?
believe that. I think we missed an opportunity to have gone through benevolent dictatorship. Do you know that the Buhari Idiagbo was a sort of benevolent dictatorship,
High-handed, government.
which we didn't like.
Oh, wow.
But it was for our good. If the Babangida that came lasted for 8 years, if the Buhari administration had lasted half of that, Nigeria would not have been the same.
When you made the presentation of this book in Abuja in January, this is what you said. You alluded to that when you read from your first chapter of the book. You said, but when the invitation to work with him came, I took it because he was a man I admired. After I won the election in 2015 and said, come and work with me, I wanted to say no because I was MD of the Sun newspapers. I was president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, NDE. I did not want to leave what I was doing. I was reluctant. You said I was very reluctant when I was asked to come to government. When I resigned my appointment, I began to cry because I did not know what I was going into. Eventually, we got into it, and this is it. One of your persuasions was the fact that you fell in love with Muhammadu Buhari when he was even in the military.
Yes.
And you thought that we were on the way to our renaissance when his government was punctuated. And then you translated this your love for him to when he joined partisan politics in 2002. And he contested, but you were perpetually selling Buhari to Nigerians. It would be hypocritical, really, not to accept the appointment. But when you got into it, what was it that you saw first? Apart from the fact that you cried.
Thank you. It was a whole lot of new terrain for me. You know, all my career had been in the private sector. You wanted something done, it was done immediately. Government does not operate like that. You, in the private sector, you want somebody punished, you got punished immediately. You want somebody dismissed, and throughout my career in private sector, there's only one person that I got dismissed because the boy didn't realize he was out of university, he was still doing a looter. I had warned him several times, given inquiry. One day I just asked admin to dismiss him. But in government, it's not like that. You want things done, 1, 2 weeks, it's not done yet. You want somebody punished, he has to get first query, second query, third query before punishment. No, it was a different terrain for me.
Then he was aligned with Buhari, who wondered, and regrettably, that democracy was slowing him down.
He said that many, many times.
Oh, wow.
You know that the Buhari we had 1983 to 1985 ruled with decrees. It was a military government. There was no pretension to niceties. He only needed to say it and it got done. He didn't even have to put it in paper. Once he says it, it gets done. But under democracy, you have to go through the processes which may take months before it gets done.
So
it can be frustrating.
So was this why you wrote on first of page 1 that a country serious about development needs, quote, some sort of benevolent dictatorship somewhere and sometime in its history?
I believe that.
Really?
I believe that. We have gone past that point in Nigeria now because we have embraced democracy. Recently, we celebrated 25 years of our democracy. It is good. It is what we all want, and it is what we all appreciate. But I think we missed an opportunity to have gone through benevolent dictatorship. Nigeria would have been a lot better today. Do you know that the Buhari Idiagbo was a sort of benevolent dictatorship,
high-handed, government.
which we didn't like.
Oh, wow.
But it was for our good. If the Babangida that came lasted for 8 years, if the Buhari administration had lasted half of that, Nigeria would not have been the same. Because Buhari provided a moral leadership. Idi Agbon was the force behind that morality. And you need that in a country.
I will come back to that in a moment. Let's go to the very first big business of the Buhari software. When the National Assembly, the 8th Assembly, I guess, in 2015 was going to be inaugurated, as you highlighted in your work in the 3rd chapter.
Yes.
Now, this is it. The Saraki and Yakubu Dogara has a coup against the party, and they emerged. You know how you struggled to get Buhari to congratulate the new National Assembly leadership and the rest of it. You know something here that I'd like to put to you. You said that, page 24, you said that, okay, the party had settled for a fitting, this is my perception, configuration of the National Assembly leadership, but a coup had been hatched by Senator Saraki to double-cross the party. And you report that this arrangement led the APC on opposition to itself. And, quote, government was hobbled, impeded by an uncooperative National Assembly.
Yes.
Now, this is my question. Bukola Saraki and his cohorts for, quote unquote, hijacking the National Assembly. But this was the National Assembly that a lot of Nigerians thought was the best in this dispensation.
Really?
Yes.
No. I'm sure you don't have a scientific backing for what you have just said.
Give it to yourself.
You don't have a scientific backing. For you to say something was best, you needed to have the figures. What are the figures? You don't have. There is precision journalism, in which you do things and subject it to empirical tests.
Yes.
We have not done any empirical tests.
Yes.
For you to say the Saraki National Assembly was the best. In fact, that National Assembly caused a lot of delays in many things. The budget will be sent. They will take money meant for this Lagos Ibadan Expressway that you drive in 60 to 80 minutes. They delayed it for more than 4 years because they will take money voted for Lagos Ibadan Expressway and go and put it under constituency project somewhere. That was how they distorted everything the executive planned to do. If not, that Buhari was a very accommodating person, they would have been fighting every day. But you didn't see them fight publicly. But they gave the executive a very difficult time.
Okay, so let's go to the chapter where you talked about the wailing whalers. Somebody mentioned it earlier. And interestingly, just like Lovett said, you wake up and then you open Twitter and everywhere is ablaze. Femi Adesina, doing that, and all that. So you coined the expression wailing whalers for the PDP.
Yes.
Then how come that expression became, the label for everybody? You put it in this book, but because I know a lot of people have not read it, so I'd like you to tell the story.
Yes. We know Bob Marley and the Wailing Wailers. That was a group. Their own wailing was to effect change in society. That was why they called themselves the Wailing Wailers. Now, in the first, you will find that expression came in July 2015, when Buhari was just about 2 months in office. Everything the government did or didn't do, you will find PDP going to issue statements. If they saw a wall deco in their house, it must be Buhari. It must be Buhari, they will issue a press statement. And like I said, and it was another riot on Twitter, I said, if it was night and a man suffered power failure with his wife, it is Buhari. It was a big shout on Twitter when I wrote that one. Anything, Buhari. One day, I just was exasperated with it and I did a tweet that these people were in power for 16 years. What did they make of it? And a new government has just come. 2 months, they will not allow it to do anything. I said, what they don't realize is that they are going to be out of power for a long time. I then ended that tweet by saying, willing willers. So, it was directly for PDP. But what did we see? All the anti-Buhari elements on social media say, oh, he has abused us. He has called us willing willers. He has no respect. He is this, he is that. They were the ones who appropriated that thing for themselves. I didn't mean it for them. I meant it for PDP. So, if they appropriated it and decided to own it, who was I to say, no, it's not you? I just left them. I didn't say anything. Till I wrote this book, I didn't explain who I was talking to.